The lion rampant against those wearing 3 lions on their shirts. Who will be the Lion Kings come the end at Wembley on Wednesday? Usual European rules apply. And here's David Beckham. Sol Campbell starting at right back for England, with the Arsenal pair, Adams and Keown, in the centre of defence.
Yeah, Paul Ritchie very close to him. I also noticed Paul Scholes made a very early run, Mark. Young Barry Ferguson did track him. He's looking to do that, I think, until such time as he can pass him on. So pretty much tactics as we thought. Who will settle quickest?
Scotland keeping their cards very much close to their chest in terms of the personnel. I think the 11 England names were well known, but not the way that they were going to set out their stall. Billy Dodds drawing Adams out of the centre. Tony Adams, who was in the England party the last time England played at Hampden. He was a substitute not used more than 10 years ago. But he saw the right result from the England point of view, a 2-0 win with goals from Chris Waddle and Steve Bull. Hooked across by Hutchison. England letting it bounce, which could be a problem. Ferguson quickly on the scene. And banged away by David Beckham.
Well, we often talk about nerves and butterflies, and that players of this calibre don't suffer from it. I would be very, very surprised if there ain't 1 or 2 nerves out there, and very seasoned professional players.
Barge into the back of Alan Shearer by Christian Daly.
Well, I have to say, Martin, early on in the game, I think that's a stupid foul for anyone to be given away against England, because Campbell, Keown and Adams are going to load up with Shearer. Now that's quality, and that's a threat. And with Beckham's delivery, Scotland really can't give away free kicks in areas like this.
Maybe the first sight of the Scotland goal for Kevin Keegan's team. Campbell peeling off, coming round the back. And the referee from Spain, Manuel Diaz-Vega, has given a free kick against Tony Adams.
Against Hutchison, Martin. I mean, it's top marks for him, because you and I are following the ball. There you see it, edge of the 18-yard box.
Here's Gallagher. He got the drop on Martin Keown for a moment, but only for a moment.
Yeah, that's Keown's pace. Ball didn't sit well, but you can see the referees are the one with Adams. Adams is on his way back. He doesn't get there. I'll tell you what, had he taken it straight instead of angling it across Keown, he might have gotten in.
David Seaman has lost it. Whether that would be seen as a free kick, I'm not sure it would be.
Well, if he's given a free kick, he gets lucky, the England goalkeeper, I think. Because it's his own player that gets in his way. Martin Keown's the one who gets underneath David Seaman. That's why he drops the ball. Kevin Gallagher just prods it, but it hits his shin. Was wildly over. Not sure whether that would have been a goal kick.
Keown looking for Shearer, and also looking for him with a really crude lunge was Colin Hendry, and it's the first yellow card. I should point out at this stage, 108 meetings between the two countries. There's never been a player sent off from either nation.
Well, you don't want to book in this early in the match. It's a stupid challenge from Colin Hendry. But I think the referee is very aware, Martin, of the type of game he's in control of today, and I think he's made his mind up that the first tackle of any kind that was debatable was going to get a card. He set his standards. The players now know it. Let's get on and play.
And instant Beckham trying to do that for England. Philip Neville, the only player to have participated in all England's 8 games under Kevin Keegan. Cleared by Hendry. A calm touch by Keown. Sol Campbell certainly had a lengthy spell in the Tottenham side as a left back.
Christian Daly for me has just got to just calm down a bit. I know it's early in the game, but sometimes when a ball's played up to a front man, you can't get there. Twice Daly's given away stupid free kicks unnecessarily.
In from Beckham again. Doing the retrieving here is Scholes for England, who've still got a lot of players forward, and Scotland everyone behind the ball. One for Owen to chase.
I think both teams will be glad when the 10 minutes is up, Martin, and it's settled a bit. They'll be fairly happy, Craig, I think, with the start. But as will Kevin, I think, because both sides seem to have settled. They're looking to pass it about, they're looking to move the ball.
Decided goal for Dodds. He found some space between Adams and Keown then.
Well, that's what you talked about not being the biggest, but that's what it's all about for Scotland for me, is dragging Adams away wide. The space was in behind, the ball was played in, Dodds was moving behind him. It's lovely movement from the front too. That's a pretty good strike early on.
From a player who didn't make the grade in England. He had 3 league games for Chelsea, but has certainly shown his worth here in Scottish League football. Hutchison getting forward as Neil Sullivan looks to kick it long.
So it's been dropped on Hutchison, I feel sure. There's no other target in Dodds and through the middle, and Dodds and Gallagher. So Hutchison offers the best option, just like that.
It's a lovely
might
mix.
Find that Sullivan will knock that ball quite often, Martin.
Burley. It's evidence of Scotland's strength in terms of team play. Out came Campbell. Just wouldn't quite drop for Ritchie, who's forward again. It's Burley's cross. And a fine header by Gallagher. Although the decision is a corner.
What a chance this is, Martin. What a ball this is from Craig Burley. Deliberate. Plays it into a wonderful area. What a covering header this is from Sol Campbell. That's brilliant defending.
Gallagher climbed. His touch was sending it goalwards. And Campbell was right alongside him. Shearer having to win a header in his own penalty area. Scholes and Owen waiting for the supporting cast, which includes Beckham.
That'll be another yellow card. Absolutely.
Kevin Gallagher. And this is one that means that Gallagher cannot be considered for the match at Wembley.
Yeah, it's asking for trouble. I said the referee had shown his intentions when he booked Colin Henry, and anyone who does that and goes to ground, whether he be wearing a blue or white shirt, he just feels certain Martin's going to get a yellow card. I hope he's not as twitchy for anyone who has a yellow card and makes a mistime tackle. Otherwise, we might get our first player sent off today in this fixture.
Beckham with the free kick. It was Ferguson who looped it high. Keown. Scholes coming to collect. He wants it again, Paul Scholes, but Adams seeing some space that Campbell can use. Trying to drop it over Daly here for Michael Owen. It's Owen!
Oh, what a save.
And well saved Neil Sullivan for Scotland.
What a save. And how important might this be, Martin? Owen, there's gap there. Christian Daly misjudges the header. Colin Henry misjudges the bounce. And that's a brilliant stop from Neil Sullivan. Owen side foots it. Gets a bit of luck, but that's brave goalkeeping. He was right in Michael Owen's face when he needed to be.
England working the corner short. Deep. Oh, and Adams with so much space, and he really should have made more of that.
Well, they picked Scotland apart there from the corner. I know Tony Adams should do better here. He just drifts to the back post, he's allowed to go, and he's got 3 targets right across goal. Owen, Shearer, Keown. Knock it back to any of them. Scotland in big trouble. All he does is, well, makes it easy for Scotland. He's disappointed, Kevin, he's right to be. But good moments for both sides already.
Scotland haven't even managed a goal in their last 4 meetings against England. The last win was secured by a player still playing, Richard Gough. Doing well for Everton, but not considered by Scotland these days, not for some time. That's another matter for debate. Campbell in towards Scholes, who takes it round Hendry. Paul Scholes for England in the 21st minute. And Paul Scholes does his best to silence the Hampden roar.
Well, I said that they would try and exploit Sol Campbell on the right-hand side, and that's exactly what happens. Look how advanced he can come. And this time no one goes with Scholes. And his first touch was absolutely perfection. He knows exactly where he wants to put this. One touch to chest into the space, and then when he needed a bit of composure, well, why do you ever doubt this young lad? He's shown it all through his career. Keeper coming out quickly. That's a beautiful finish. Absolutely top-class finish from Paul Scholes.
And Kevin Keegan, who's put out a formation to allow Scholes to operate in the area where he can be at his most dangerous, ahead of a midfield 3 behind the front 2. And the touch that took him wide of Hendry, creating the opportunity that brought Scholes his 8th goal for England. A mistake by Ince, and Seaman has stopped Gallagher equalising straight away. Well, England's goalkeeper coming into this match with some critics on his back. But what an important save so soon after the Scholes goal that could turn out to be.
Well, you've got to score in a match like this, Martin. I'm afraid you've got to take those chances. It's a great save, spreads himself well. But if he gets it off the ground, Kevin Gallagher, he equalises. It's all he's got to do. I know it sounds easy. You won't get a better chance in this match from either side.
Scotland 0, England 1. Here's the scorer, who got himself into trouble with referee Diaz Vega for the way he celebrated his goal going off the pitch. The UEFA officials don't like that sort of thing, and the card was out. Ince, who was mightily relieved that Seaman made the save from Gallagher. Shearer. Craig Brown setting great story, hope by, at the very least, Scotland keeping a clean sheet here at Hampden, with the UEFA rules, the away goals, counting double in the circumstances if the score is level.
Well, it's a great
Gallagher's chance could have made it level on the day here.
Well, England just get caught here. Keown coming out, Ince coming back. The chance is there. Seaman goes low to his left. If he gets this up and he gets it up off the ground, then he's got to score. That's a wonderful chance, and he won't get a better one today.
Redknapp. Ritchie getting back. It's an interesting choice by Craig Brown and Paul Ritchie ahead of Callum Davidson, who has played against Beckham before for Blackburn against Manchester United. Redknapp. Owen. And Daly, it's going to be another booking for Scotland to have to take on the chin.
Scotland that can make a challenge, Martin. Can't argue with that. That's his 3rd in a row. Rash challenge from Christian Daly. Well, they'd love to get another one, England. I'm pretty sure of that very quickly. For Scotland at the moment, it's a case of just make sure they don't concede the second. This is certainly in Beckham range. Redknapp behind them. Got good options. It's a long way out. Having just scored. Certainly wouldn't surprise me if either of these two decide to take it on.
Bit of history between Sullivan and Beckham, of course. Wimbledon against Manchester United a couple of years ago, when Beckham scored from inside his own half against the man who's in goal for Scotland today. This is a bit closer. And Jamie Redknapp's having a good look as well. A bit of pushing and shoving in the wall involving Ince. Here goes Beckham. But Sullivan can shepherd it wide. Let's hear from Davy Provan, who's down behind the goal, and he's got some comment for us. Davy.
Yeah, Neil Sullivan not happy at all, Martin, at the goal. He felt the defenders in front of him were sitting far too deep. He's been trying to push them up since the game began. He doesn't want them sitting in on top of them, and he felt they were too deep at the goal. Paul Scholes immediately over the barrier beside us and shown a yellow card, but Neil Sullivan constantly trying to push the defenders in front of him out.
Thanks, Davy. Paul Scholes, who's had to serve a suspension in these Euro qualifiers already with his red card against Sweden, normally gets bookings for mistimed tackles, but today for a mistimed or an inappropriate celebration.
He won't be too concerned about that, Martin, trust me. Only if he gets another one and one of those rash tackles comes in.
Neville. Keown with the header. Burley. And the Redknapp forcing Burley to give it away. Now Weir for Scotland. Who doesn't pull out of challenges.
Kevin Keegan's out, Martin. He's absolutely furious. He had a better view of it than certainly the referee did. But he launches into this Don Hutchison. Goes jumping and he catches him right on the shin. It's a horrible looking tackle, that. And that's why the England manager was out. Thankfully Paul Scholes is up.
Hendrick. Such an important figure for Scotland. You tend to forget he didn't win a cap till he was 27, Colin Hendrick. Dodds, another late developer. Free kick to Scotland. Daly. Now Gallagher. Still parts of Hampden you feel in a state of shock having seen England take the lead, but they'll be encouraged by that from Craig Burley. Hutchison. Burley can have it back. And does. Cross flies away off Phil Neville. Helped on by Barry Ferguson. And the shot from long range by John Collins, who's already beaten David Seaman this season.
This is ambitious, even by John Collins standards. Long way out, he's got no run at the ball, it's a standing strike. I'll be able to test anyone of the quality of David Seaman.
Burley. Here's Dodds. England rather backing off. Comes off Adams, back to Dodds. And the referee from Spain waving away Scotland's protests.
That would have been a pretty harsh penalty. We may have got at best obstruction. The ball comes back off him. It could have been no more than that.
Well, Kevin Keegan was relieved to see the referee making similar sort of gestures.
Well, it's been a pretty good, 35 minutes of this match. Pretty tight. The only thing separating the teams is Paul Scholes has taken his chance and Kevin Gallagher hasn't.
Shearer. And also the number of bookings, which might just make it a little bit more difficult for Scotland to defend. They've got to be more circumspect with their challenges. Scholes, as we pointed out, got himself into trouble through the euphoria and the exhilaration of scoring the only goal so far. Burley, some talk that he might be moving back to the English game with Derby. And Colin Hendry as well. Collins. Here's Christian Daly, once of Derby. Ritchie, who is usually used as a central defender. Collins. Bags of craft. Barry Ferguson. Gallagher! That's a splendid move by Scotland.
That's probably move of the match, this. Beautiful ball from Barry Ferguson here. Across the face of the 6-yard box. A real awkward one to deal with. But yet again, Adams gets himself in. It's actually a goal kick. Gallagher actually prods it past. But the referee decides to give Scotland the corner.
As they work with Hutchison.
One each.
Oh, one each, yeah. That certainly looks as though it should be a corner and he's given a goal kick.
Well, actually, this one might have come back off Hutchison. It looked as if it could have been one of those that got blocked, but there's no doubt Gallagher gets in near post. It's a difficult chance. This is nothing like the one he had earlier. Adams gets across and makes it difficult for him. He's a little bit beyond the near post again, which made it more difficult. Craig Brown will be very pleased the way his team have played, apart from the one lapse.
Redknapp. And he gets there this time. Ferguson, who does look a really composed young player. And true Scottish traditions.
Oh no.
And no foul by Ince. And the free kick goes England's way.
I'll have to say it's Ferguson's honesty here. He gets Ince away with that. He jumps over him, gets up.
But what?
And there's a booking coming on here, Martin. I think it's Barry Ferguson.
He's turned around to see the yellow card. Which is a shame, because what was shining through just before that was the quality of Ferguson. They will tell you in these parts that the production line of young Scottish ball players is not what it once was, but he's an exception to that.
He looks a good player.
Adams has given himself a good head start here. Hendry. Redknapp and Hutchison used to be flatmates together on Merseyside when they were colleagues with Liverpool. Fierce rivals in midfield, and that fierce rivalry epitomised by Ritchie and Beckham as well.
Well, again, a little bit rash, trying to get at David Beckham and the ball. He has done well, Beckham, in winning free kicks early in this match.
It's 1-1, and he's taken this one. Scholes! Well, he's done it again. 4 minutes to go to half-time. It's the Manchester United magic. David Beckham to Paul Scholes.
Well, you can't give free kicks away time and time again. Anywhere like that in this football pitch should not be punished by Beckham's ability to cross the ball into an area. But I have to say that Scotland's defending is absolutely woeful. It's not as if Paul Scholes hasn't announced himself on this match already, but to allow him in as free as that, well, that's scandalously bad defending, I have to say, from Scotland. But what a time for England to get a second.
Scholes got 3 for Kevin Keegan in Kevin's first match as England's manager against Poland, and now 2 here at Hampden Park. And how Scotland may rue that chance for Kevin Gallagher We remember a big minute at Wembley in '96 when McAllister's penalty was saved. Straight away Gascoigne went and scored. We had a big minute here with Scholes' first goal and an immediate opportunity, and a very good one for Scotland to equalise. Now they're 2-0 down.
Well, that's a mountain to climb for Scotland now.
But it's Dodds! Off the bar! Gallagher is there, booted up by Beckham, but not away. So unlucky. Back by Burley. Danger not over yet for England. Here's Ritchie. Well, it looped over David Seaman, and it looked for all the world as though it was going to dip under his crossbar.
Goalkeeper's absolutely beaten, wasn't he? People have talked about getting a bit of luck in a football match and it making a difference. This is a lovely effort from Dodds, beautifully crafted, wonderfully executed. And when he needed a little bit of luck, having done the first bit ever so well, he gets absolutely none.
Well, England had just had a free kick given against them when Sol Campbell was claiming that he'd won the ball. Collins takes it. Burley. Ferguson. Oh, and England can break out here, and Scholes could be put in for the hat-trick. Oh, but Owen has miscontrolled it at the vital moment. Now, whether Michael Owen would have passed the ball Scholes is a matter of conjecture with his pace.
He would have had to, I think, because he was there, and that's just overrun. He never had it under control at any time, Michael Owen. But it was great pressure on Barry Ferguson. Shearer, Scholes and Owen just swarmed him in midfield.
Burley, and offside.
It was close again.
It's not been top security at the back for England.
See, I don't think that's off. I think that's on as the ball's played. There's Tony Adams come out, that familiar arm goes up. It's little things like that that make or break football matches. It was a close call, could have gone Scotland's way and didn't.
Shearer trying to stand his ground again. This time the defender was David Weir. And it's a free kick for the England captain once more. Adams has stayed back this time. Keown has pushed on. But it's half-time. Kevin Keegan said that he didn't believe matters could be settled decisively here today, but Paul Scholes has given a different slant to that with 2 goals in the first half at Hampden. Sol Campbell drilled the ball at his chest for the first, and he took it on beyond Hendry and beat Sullivan. Then came the Gallagher chance straight after that, which was a real opportunity for Scotland to hit back straight away. But that went astray. Scholes' header didn't. And England very much in the driving seat. Billy Dodds has hit the bar, and Scotland have played some progressive football, but at half-time at Hampden, it's Scotland 0, England 2. But territorially, certainly not 2 goals better. No great fortune for Scotland in the first 45 minutes. And now Paul Scholes, in particular, stands on the brink of history. No Englishman has ever scored a hat-trick at Hampden Park. He is one away. 9 goals now in 18 and a half internationals. A remarkable ratio, a remarkable young player. Second half underway at Hampden. English spirits are soaring. Scotland out to make sure the players don't really sag before we all move camp to Wembley. Redknapp. Philip Neville. Scholes in like lightning again. Oh, splendid play by Scholes. Referee shaking his head. He was very, very close, and Scholes is well advised, whatever he thinks and whatever the rights and wrongs, to get up and keep his thoughts to himself.
Closer than anyone, the referee, to this. It's great skill from Scholes. I think that's a clumsy tackle. I really do, Mark. I think he's lucky to get away with that, David Weir. I think he could easily have pointed to the spot. He got out-skilled, he got out-thought, and he got away with it.
And if it was given, Scotland you would rule out of the finals of Euro 2000.
I think it's going to be hard enough at 2-0. If Scotland don't get a goal back second half to go to Wembley, they'll have to claw back 2 goals. I just think the next goal in this tie is just, well, it's the clincher when it gives Scotland hope.
It does almost seem like fate that these two countries should meet in the last internationals of the year for the two countries, of the decade, of the century, of the millennium. Hendrick, Beckham. Richie's got a couple to try and pick out, including Tom Hutchinson on the move from midfield. There's no flag. Shearer looks across to assess that. Scholes and Redknapp joining Owen in the middle. It's coming like so much towards Paul Scholes, but it didn't quite arrive because Collins sorted that. Redknapp.
He smashed one in against the Belgians from around about the same area with his left foot. Didn't quite catch it, but he gets time to bring it down.
This, lest you forget, for a place in the first major international football tournament of the year 2000. The European Championship finals staged in Holland and Belgium. Kevin Keegan's side so far has taken a giant stride towards a place at that particular party. Richie. Collins, good movement by him. Just momentarily get behind England. Campbell trying to close that particular gap. Collins looking to work him and get a corner off him, and he's done that very cleverly. Really one of Scotland's senior citizens, John Collins. His 57th cap. Now, Scotland do need a goal. Collins with the corner.
That was a touch unlucky. Hutchison made a good run. Just gets a little bit too much on it. Not sure whether this is just a fraction high, but if he gets a fainter header on it, gets it across goal, it does cause problems.
Let's hear again from David Provan. David.
Yeah, David Seaman not happy there with David Beckham's position as the ball came in there from the corner kick, and Don Hutchison managed to win the header. But overall, it's a very passive, a very quiet David Seaman, not really under any pressure. He's having a stroll in the park right now.
Well, by Hampden Park standards, it's a very passive crowd trying to find their voices amidst their disappointment the way this game has panned out to this point.
Yeah, well, for all the possession, and it has been dominant, they haven't really crafted or created a chance.
Dodds. Richie trying to attack it. And, well, you can understand his desire to get there. But he's barrelling into the back of Sol Campbell.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy decision.
Well, at all ages, concern for Scotland fans. Andy Gray not wearing his bonnet today. Kevin Keegan just calling for his players to lift the tempo of their game. Rather settle for a soaking up philosophy. There's a danger if you draw Scotland on. And this might be crystallised here. Gallagher's deep cross, corner to Scotland.
Well, that's all it takes in a match like this, Martin, isn't it? They're wanting that to be out. Sol Campbell's convinced it's out and really doesn't get close enough. The cross is just a touch long.
That's not far away.
That's a chance. Again, England really getting in each other's way. Three players jump as us on mass, all miss it. It's driven in beautifully from Hutchison. They all go up and miss it. I mean, that's a pretty good chance if you get a clear header in a match like this. You've got to hit the target.
Well, the England trio had their eyes on Colin Hendry. Christian Daly had his eyes on the ball, and some glory for Scotland and the chance of finding a comeback route. Hendry. Weir. He's the tallest of the Scotland players, I think, but had stayed back at that corner. Adams. It's won by Weir. Hutchison. There's not too much purity about the play at the moment, and in these circumstances maybe that's too much to ask.
We'll also say to be made, Martin. Andy Cole, I would guess for Michael Owen. I would be surprised if it was anything other than for Michael Owen.
That is the change Kevin Keegan makes. Andy Cole appearing for England at senior level for a sixth time. He's never really had a run at it, but he has started a couple with Alan Shearer, so they have some experience of playing in tandem. They did it in home games against Poland and in Sweden, although neither scored in those games. Campbell.
And that's the sort of thing that separates the countries at the moment, Martin. When Kevin can bring off someone like Michael Owen and put on probably the most informed striker in Britain at this particular moment in time.
That's a yellow card for Jamie Redknapp.
He's never getting there, Jamie Redknapp, is he? This catches Don Hutchison, who's got himself into some pretty good positions. Second half, I don't think Jamie can have any argument with that.
Well, they'll certainly talk about that over a drink at some point. Two great friends. But Redknapp booked. Free kick to Scotland. It's another of those runs by Hutchison where he really tries to seize the initiative for Scotland.
I can only think John Collins is going to play some part in this, Martin. He's slightly off the pace. He certainly will have been worked in the training ground.
And they're just trying to move the ball a little bit as well.
And whether they use him as a decoy, it certainly pays a lot of attention, Craig, to set plays in and around the box. I know that for a fact.
Well, Collins is poised.
Is it too obvious, Collins? Certainly seems that way.
Over the ball.
Collins has got his eye on him.
Now it's played for Burley. Rather tamely into the England wall. Whether that was plan A, B or C, but it didn't come off.
Because of the lack of real genuine quality in the top third of the pitch.
Ferguson. Ince with the interception. England looking to counter-attack here. Shearer just drifting to the right. Beckham's gone through the middle. Andy Cole loping forward. And of course Scholes making an attacking movement again, but England concentrating on keeping the ball rather than going for the jugular.
So, I mean, I don't understand it, Liam. I find it incredible. You've been punished time and time again. Free kick from Beckham. You've been asked to defend horrible free kicks that bends in beautifully. And you're nowhere near getting the ball. Alan Shearer's gone nowhere but to the corner flag. And what do? You just push him over, invite pressure. Up come the big boys. In comes a bit of quality and you have to deal with it.
From Beckham. And it was Cole going in by the near post. It's a corner.
Oh, what a chance. This is a lovely run from Cole. I thought he got there at first. I thought he was ahead of Hutchison. Just seemed to head it into him. That's half a chance for Andy Cole.
He clearly is pleased to be involved as Beckham takes it. That's Ince! Well, that's it through the crowd.
Well, any deflection on this, and it's probably number 3. The bodies it gets past here without hitting any of them was quite incredible. Straight through Henry's legs. And I think Neil Sullivan is a pretty fortunate goalkeeper. It did. Any deflection off of Henry's legs would surely have taken it past the goalkeeper.
Paul Scholes has only ever scored in one England game. He got 2 in Bologna against San Marino 6 years ago. Graham Taylor's last match in charge. Hutchison. I said Paul Scholes there, and I meant Paul Ince, of course. Paul Scholes is record far more impressive. Collins. Here's Shearer. Back for Beckham. Cole, rather isolated figure, sorted out by Daly. Still time for a change in perspective here. Scotland need to find some greater sharpness in attack. Gallagher. Out by Adams. Rather too many of those sort of balls from England from the back.
I don't think England have played well today, Mark. I have to say they're 2-0 up in a game that in lots of places on the pitch they've been second best. The one place where they've been absolutely top class is when Scholes has been given an opportunity. He's really punished them.
Burley. Scotland digging deep here. Burley and Hutchison. Daly joining in, and no one going with him for England.
It's the wrong type of cross for me, that. To tuck it back on your right foot. Good opportunity, and it's wasted, and England will quite happily take that all day.
Shearer. Cole taking over. Well, put it into Colin Hendry.
If you wanted a cameo of Henry, that was it there.
He didn't even take a count. He was back on his feet straight away. It's Cole again. We're stopping him this time. Hutchison. 2 ahead of him in Scotland blue. He's found one of them, Gallagher.
I'd just like to see, I think, Craig Brown change it just for the last 15 minutes. I think a goal is vital.
Scotland being allowed to play on, and the referee points for a corner. He's going to book Tony Adams. Yeah, that was a good refereeing that time, because Scotland had the ball. He itemised Adams as the culprit and waited to dish out the punishment.
Good covering again, Sol Campbell. It was important he was round on the cover as full-back.
Glanced away by Campbell. They're not really pushing out. They're staying in their own penalty area. Back by Collins.
And I think they feel confident of dealing with crosses, Mark. I think they feel they've got enough height and enough power aerially. If Scotland want to toss it in, and they're saying, go on, we've got enough here to deal with you. That's a booking.
Well, whereas Scotland caught the eye of the referee in this respect in the first half, it's been England in the second.
Well, he's a little unlucky, Paul Ince, I have to say. Well, they're catching up, aren't they? Have they caught up?
I think they have caught up.
They've overtaken. And I just think Scotland need to try and give England something different in the last 15 minutes. And I think something like pushing Don Hutchison up front, whether he does that by bringing on a midfield player and pushing Hutchison up front, sacrificing one of the front two.
Hutchison. Wonderful leap by Sol Campbell. Back in acrobatically by Collins. England still can't clear the danger. Ritchie, and it's the referee who's guilty of obstruction there. Dodds. Adam stepped in, but again England able to clear but not control. Daly.
Everything's just a bit narrow for Scotland at the moment. England are quite happy. If Scotland want to come through the middle, they'll just put bodies in the way.
Daly. Oh, and Billy Dodds in there, the thick of the fray, fighting to try and make something from the cross, but the odds are against him. And it's an interesting option this for Craig Brown to go with a relatively untried youngster. Mark Burchill only played twice before. He was brave enough to step up and take a penalty for Scotland. Although he didn't score it, Don Hutchison dealt with the rebound in the recent win against Lithuania. Hendry. Scholes and Shearer. He doesn't get very far.
Change will be made now.
It's Kevin Gallagher, the relatively old, giving way to the new. Gallagher ends his participation in the playoffs. He's suspended for Wembley. Keogh. Oh, and Andy Cole is onside. He looks for Shearer, and reading his mind was David Weir.
Well, that might be the game-setting match. Not offside. You can see Weir playing him on, but Weir really does well in keeping an eye on Alan Shearer. Martin could easily have been attracted to Cole. Decided to wait. What a wise decision it proved to be. But I did think Cole put his foot through that. I thought the kind of form he's in, he's just going to go in on Neil Sullivan and drill it past him, or attempt to. I was a touch surprised he opted for the pass.
Make another chapter for the next book. Look selflessly for the golden boy in the middle. Dodds. Now Burley. Bags the ball on the right-hand side. Ferguson.
First time, really, with any little bit of frustration showing.
And don't forget, when everyone moves off to Wembley for Wednesday, please stay with us for the second leg of this playoff for a place in the finals of Euro 2000, live on Sky Sports and Sky Sports Extra for Sky Digital viewers. Burchill trying to get involved. Adams right alongside him. Different for England to have to deal with Mark Burchill. Still feeling his way into Celtic's first team on a sporadic basis. There's no disguising the potential in his play. Weir. Burchill trying to find a path through the middle. Scotland put that attack together.
Lovely football.
Very neatly.
Great little flick from Hutchin. Watch him just spin round the back of Paul Ince. He was a little unlucky with the pass. Burchill's movement good across the face, but the pass just a touch heavy.
England finishing on the front foot, and they are delighted. In by Becker, headed out by Burley.
This time was all about result, Martin. It was never about performance, how well you played, how badly you played. The idea of these two games was to make sure you won it, that you were going to Euro 2000. England have taken a huge step towards that goal.
You mentioned Scotland needing 2 goals at Wembley. They go there, it seems, having failed to score against England for a 5th game in a row. I know that's spread over a good many years, a good many players. It's a sad statistic. You have to go back to our old friend Graham Souness and the penalty at Wembley in 1986. And Scotland lost that game as well. Weir. Maybe they can strike in stoppage time with Burchill. Keown cuts it out. Redknapp for Cole. Andy Cole might go his own way this time to try and get off the mark at senior level.
Decent defending this in the end. He goes awful deep, Colin Hendry, but he doesn't commit himself. He keeps Cole. You see how he's keeping him on his left. He didn't allow Cole to get the ball onto his right foot and open himself out.
Dodds. Burchill showing a turn of foot there that had Sol Campbell scampering, but has not been able to do anything to help turn the tide.
No, it was always a tough ball like this. Very good trip up for everyone south of the border. They'll be absolutely delighted with a scoreline.
They are summing up the mood of one footballing nation. Full time at Hampden. Half time in this playoff for a place in the Euro 2000 finals next summer, but advantage very much with Kevin Keegan and England. An advantage set up by Paul Scholes, who scored twice in the first half. And although Scotland can point to plenty of possession, they didn't manage in the second period to come as close as they did in the first. Tony Adams and his fellow defenders kept the England goal intact. It needed a brave save from David Seaman from Kevin Gallagher when he got in at 1-0 within seconds of Scholes' first goal. England were fortunate when a crafty lob from Billy Dodd hit the bar and stayed out just before half-time. But the circus that has surrounded the resumption of football hostilities moves down to Wembley next Wednesday. Join Andy and me for the second and decisive chapter on Wednesday night. Reaction to the first chapter, which England will hope will be decisive through the contribution of Paul Scholes, coming up. It's finished here at Hampden with these 2 goals to 0. England fans will love seeing them again. And that gesture from Paul Scholes that he had silenced the crowd was particularly pertinent, and his second means a very enjoyable journey back across the border for Kevin Keegan and company. Scotland 0, England 2.